do a little
I got the
introduction
whole
again.
bottle right here. Just
Oh, I gotta go get mine.
We'll be a little quicker today, so we'll just mention our names and what we're drinking. Today I'll be having a vintage Shasta Kiwi Strawberry Red from 2010 in my skeleton cup goblet. And my name's Nate from Utah State. Why don't we go to you next, Charlie? You're muted, bro.
Muted.
I am Charlie Weaver from the Minnesota Daily, and I am drinking Smart Water out of a bottle that I've had for about a week. I just keep refilling it.
Thank you for thinking of the earth and using that plastic.
Earth Day is next week. On
Patrick, you were next.
Patrick DiDomenico, Garner Media Group, University of South Carolina. My drink of choice today is a Quad Grande Extra Hot White Mocha from Starbucks.
Oh, wow.
We'll go to Terry next.
Yeah, Terry Lucas, University of Pittsburgh. I'm having a Negroni from Wiggle Distilleries here in Pittsburgh, who delivers. So it's really good. If you want the link, let me know, and you can have it shipped to your house.
Throw it in the chat.
I'm really appreciative of the art behind you.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yes, the wine art. Yeah.
Oh,
Very festive.
Yes.
In
Tammy.
honor of our happy hour, Kathy.
Yes.
I'm Tammy. I'm from Kent State, where it's still snowing in the middle of April, and I'm still drinking Paul Biddick's wine.
Veronica.
Hi, everyone. I'm Veronica from the University of Texas El Paso. I am breaking my no drinking at work rule. That's okay. Some type of local lager that I picked up yesterday.
Leslie.
Am I muted?
Hi,
I'm Leslie. I'm Northwest Missouri State University. I'm drinking Diet Pepsi. Whoa. Hold on. Are we okay?
Yeah, you're okay.
Yeah.
We're all
My
fine.
computer
It's
went
you, I think,
wild.
that's having a hard time.
Yeah.
We're all fine.
I went somewhere today, so. that was
Oh.
cool.
Heather.
I'm Heather from Oklahoma, and I'm drinking a Crystal Light lemonade. I know I'm super lame.
At least you have a clean cup, Charlie. Looking at you, buddy. Dominique.
I'm Dominique from VCU. I'm currently drinking what's left of my Coke from my lunch.
Leftover Coke's the best.
Oh, yeah.
Andrea.
Andrea Watson from Texas Tech, enjoying the lovely 81-degree day. Drinking water out of my lovely blue Lubbock cup because I didn't plan appropriately and ran out of time.
Nicole.
Hi, I'm Nicole from the University of Nebraska. It's snowing here as well, so don't feel bad. And I have water in an old Dunkin' Donuts cup.
Who's got the older plastic cup? We'll find out between Charlie and Nicole. That comes.
How old is mine? A couple days old.
Oh, Charlie's is older.
All right, Julie.
Hey guys, Julie Salter, University of Alabama, Tuscaloosa, and it is really lovely outside. As you can tell, I have to keep my head in just the right place to block the sun so that I get to stay in my comfy office chair. And I can't go outside because earlier I had to come in, dogs and kids, and the Zoom call went poorly. Or I would be outside too because I've already tried it once. And I just have my water for
Kathleen. That's you, Kathy Simon.
I'm sorry, my internet, it's windy here, and I live in the boonies, and my internet keeps going in and out, and of course it would go out about the time you called me out. But hi, Kathy, CM Life. I am drinking a nice Napa Cab.
Nice.
Joanne, you're up next.
Oh, Joanne Shiosaki, Gonzaga Bolton. I'm having a cup of water in my custom made cup.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, let's all drink to that cup, shall we? And Allison, I think you're last but not least.
Hi, I'm Allison. I'm from Virginia Commonwealth University. I was late because I've been working on budget planning for next year, so I'm drinking a Coke also to stay awake during budget planning because I hate it and it's horrible.
We'll talk more about budgets, shall we? Awesome. So thanks for joining us for episode 2 of the CMBAM Advisor Happy Hour. It's going to be trending on Netflix in no time. The drinking game word of the day today, we have 2 of them. One is fall. So anytime has been referencing fall semester or something to that effect. The other being fopdoodle. So anytime someone says fall or fopdoodle, we're all expected to drink.
Is fockdoodle a word I should know? Can you use that in a sentence?
Yes, I can. Charlie?
Our President of the United States is a fopdoodle.
Nice.
That is me editorializing. That is not the general consensus that I know of CMBAM, but yeah. So a fopdoodle is...
It's an old-timey swear word, I know for sure.
Oh. Well, is it one of the older F words?
It's a simpleton, a stupid or insignificant fellow.
Correct.
Very similar to a knitting hammer.
Yes. Got it.
So unmirrored.
Fopdoodle.
Oh, we're all going to get drunk real fast here.
Fopdoodle.
All right.
There you go. Fopdoodle.
Oh my gosh. I also have some freshly squeamed orange juice here that I may mix with my kiwi strawberry later. We'll see what happens.
So fancy.
So we have a couple of suggested topics that came in today. And so I think we'll just kind of start and go right down the list. Feel free to kind of use the chat. We found out we have more features, like we could take a poll if we want. We could have a vote to see who, I don't know, wore it best today. And, we'll just kind of let you guys chat about what we're doing about these topics. And if we run out, we'll have more. And just kind of take a break from all things going on. So the first topic that we had listed here was recruitment and hiring. Well, what are we doing? How are we handling it? And how are we approaching that? So I'll just open it up if you have thoughts on how you're recruiting and hiring or concerns you have, just feel free to share it with the group.
Yeah, that's a big challenge, I think, for everybody at this time. I know what we're doing at the Pitt News is we've been fortunate enough to post an announcement on the my.pitt.edu portal for students saying that we were hiring for summer, fall, and spring. We want to have a drink. And then we reach out to certain classes within University of Pittsburgh to have professors send out an email to their classes for us as well. We've been able to find students who are on all of the different class of, 2020, 2021, 22, whatever, Facebook pages, which all of our freshmen join when they enroll at Pitt, and put announcements on there as well. But I'm trying to think we've been just using our own platforms, our e-newsletter, our website, and our Twitter.
Other strategies you guys are using? Similar things you're doing out there?
our challenge is that student employment is kind of put on hold at our university. So I'm not sure what we're gonna do. And we have a very small staff. I only have 2 salespeople. I only have 1 at the moment. The other one quit before this happened. And I don't have a graphic designer. I've been struggling looking for someone or finding someone, but right now it's just on hold.
Yeah, the strategies that we're using right now is we're actually anticipating probably having the largest summer staff that we've had in a while because of canceled internships, canceled study abroads, and the fact that we're going to allow everybody to still work from home. So we've done exactly what Terry's talked about. We've talked with the university and we've gotten on Handshake, and they have a job website, our university does there. And so we've been able to do that. We've reached out to a number of different advising offices and crafted specific email solicitations for the business students, for the journalism students, for the design students. And we're actually seeing quite a bit of traffic on our jobs page right now. So like we had over 100 visitors yesterday, filing applications and whatnot. A lot of that's predicated on the PPP loan application that we've submitted, because we may have to be paying back some student services fees, which is going to affect our ability to potentially pay some of these students during the summer. So we're also reaching out to internship offices to see if we can offer them at least class credit to be able to work at the Daily, because we're independent of the university. A lot of school-based ones or student media organizations shouldn't have quite a big leap in getting that class credit available. So we're trying to incentivize hiring in any way that we can.
Yeah, my whole staff wants to stay for the summer now. So I don't know quite what to do, because we normally have 2 or 3 salespeople, and I have double that at least who want to be here for the summer. And people who graduate in May, like you guys know Jesse from CMBAM, now Jesse wants to stay, and like I have a new ad manager coming in, and so there's some friction there, and it's turning into what is the word, a flop doodle? It is turning into a flop doodle.
Just so you know, if Jessie has canceled her international plans, I'm still hiring. I will look for the silver lining in all of this. If she can't go anywhere, but still wants to go somewhere.
Right.
Yeah. And we're kind of turning it into a thought exercise with our students as well. So like, because we just don't want to open the doors and hire a bunch of people and not have a plan in place, because we've never potentially had that many people during the summer. So what are we going to do? What are the projects that we're going to work on? Are we going to use this time to prepare for, ramping up when things go back to normal? If they go back to normal. And so like, we're even talking, because I'm not so much worried about the recruitment and hiring as I am about the training. Like, we don't have a training plan in place for like remote training at this point. And so that's something that we don't have to talk about this week, but in subsequent happy hours, I would really like to discuss what everybody's got on their mind in regard to training.
Let's all raise a glass if you'd like to discuss training now.
I do.
All right. Yeah, let's just go into it. Kathy Simon posted that question in the chat as well. And I actually had a good conversation last week or a couple of days ago with my Utah College Media Alliance group that we have here. It includes BYU and Utah and some of those. And I shared with them, so we're using Canvas. A few years ago, we actually contacted our central Canvas people and said, hey, could we just get a class or course created that is just for student media? And we started making modules and trainings. There were more resources back then, like just how to hire people and, kind of leadership and how to just interview people. So we're just ramping up on that. And then that inspired student involvement and leadership, which is mostly our government officers and stuff, which I'm a part of, the same department. they then got inspired, and that's how they're training their officers now. So we've actually made modules with assignments to kind of essentially give them another online class for the summer so that they're ready for the fall.
So Nate, Canvas is like Blackboard. That's what we have, right?
Yeah, Canvas is similar. It's made by Instructure Technologies, but yeah, it'd be similar to a Blackboard or something like that. So I highly recommend that class. We in Utah are going to start sharing all of the stuff as we make ours for summer, and so those of you that are on Canvas, we might even have those things go to the public commons that anyone can go and grab. So highly recommend doing something like that. If you have Blackboard or Canvas, that's the route we're going to go, and we think it'll be pretty good.
That's a
I mean, it has been
idea,
good so
'cause
far, but
they know how to use everything. They're so familiar with it. They do it all the time. They're on there all the time. So
I got a question.
One thing, sorry, Terry.
Does CMBAM have any kind of training videos that they've conducted during the summer workshops at all that would be something that CMBAM members can share?
That's a really good question, Terry, and that's something we've been talking about for the last 3 weeks. We don't have any past videos, but for the summer workshop this year, we are going to absolutely record every single training session that we do, and we're going to offer them as kind of premium content to help CMBAM with its bottom line. So it's not going to be an outrageous expense. We haven't decided on the pricing yet, but it's going to be kind of like a annual training session that you will have access to then and can use the entire year if you would like to. So like all of the new AdRep Bootcamp stuff. So as you start bringing in new students throughout the year, you'll have like a training library that you can use to do that, as well as the student ad managers type stuff. And that's something that I want to continue talking about too, because throughout the year, we're open to like conducting these types of opportunities with specific training relative to what the membership's needs are. So.
Okay. So will those be available this summer?
Yeah, those will be available this summer. We're hammering out the logistics right now as far as when summer workshop is going to happen. Because we're talking about extending it to a period over 2 weeks, because we understand that nobody's going to want to sit in front of a Zoom screen for 8 hours a day for 3 days. So we're going to break them up into kind of modules and different days. And then closer toward the fall, we can have kind of something like this for all of our students if they have any additional questions based off of the training that we offered during summer workshop right before the school starts. And I think this is a really good tool that CMBAM can utilize with regularity. Like we're doing an advisors happy hour, but I think we're going to put in place some sort of student engagement as well. So the students can be networking throughout the year, problem solving and doing things of their own accord as well. So
I'm glad to hear that.
So then with the mega workshop, there's a price for members and a non-member price?
Quite honestly, we haven't gone down that road yet, but that sounds like a really good option, because that sounds like content that we could be monetizing to groups that aren't members as well. So.
And then you said some kind of additional training in the fall. For someone like me, I don't have any kind of training except for a bunch of binders and pieces of paper, right? And having the upper class train the newbies, that's valuable to me. And that'd be something that if it was fee-based, I mean, Gonzaga would pay for that. And
that's
could be good revenue.
Yeah, that's great feedback, because like we're trying to collect some data right now over the next week so that we can go back to the other organizations that participate in Mega Workshop, because a lot of them are a little bit more journalism based, so they don't understand kind of the financing of all of this, and they want to really reduce the pricing. So while we want to be respectful of everybody's budgets, we know that everybody's going through different financial hardships right now. We still need to assign an applicable value, and the value that we're kind of knocking around right now is about $400, but it'll get you, let's see, there's 16 training videos and then access to all of these types of opportunities throughout the year. And it's less than the cost, because we went through and kind of calculated the cost of what does it cost to send one student to the mega workshop. And that's right at about $1,200, $1,300. So it's about $1,000 savings, and you get to use it for your entire staff throughout the entire year. So, and then that just helps CMBAM be able to kind of weather this, not having conventions, not getting that type of revenue to support itself. So we're open to suggestions, and we're looking for different ideas too on the types of training that you want, because we just don't want it to be student ad manager and ad rep boot camp training that we've done in the past. We assume that there's going to be a couple of sessions that you would like specifically about, like, how do you remote train people? How do you run a staff that isn't in the office and things like that? We're going to be looking to the membership to kind of help us pull that together, because we're all kind of building this airplane as we're flying it right now.
Just want to quickly throw out a welcome to Kim. Kim joining us down the corner from Colorado State. What you drinking today, Kim?
Where'd she go?
You scared her off.
Never mind.
Way to go, Nate.
Changed her mind.
While we're waiting on her to come back, I was just going to share something I've done on Zoom. I think I mentioned it on our last call, but I hadn't started it. So I had a group of interns that I had been training all semester for sales. They were to the point where after spring break, I would have sent them out with my current staff. Like, we had done all of my slide presentation classwork in the office. And so what I did is I had them all pick a business that they were really interested in, and they did the research and pretended to be that business. And I paired everybody up for 2 weeks for 1 week with each other. And they did pretend CNAs. And so the person with the restaurant did the CNA with the bar, and they both asked the questions. And then this week, what I've done is I've had my 3 seniors do the same thing. They were one of their clients, and they did Zoom calls that I like set up, come in, say hello, but then I step away from. And so those interns have done the Zoom CNAs with my sales staff now. And really, I think it's turned into them asking a lot of questions about what should I expect, which who knows what they should expect. But they have seemed to really like it. And it is one of the only things I've been able to think of. I have a couple of clients, I guess I could pretend, like, do some fake meetings with them if we get to that point. But I just told them basically when we launch back in the fall, I will go on more calls with them, and I will try to reenact all the shadowing that they would have been doing this semester. But that Zoom CNA practice call is something that I've done. So I just wanted to share that idea.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's
Other
really cool.
trainings?
Well, I'm wondering if we can set up some things where my students call your students, and your students are the client, and my students are the pitchers, and vice versa.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
I think the intern group I have right now is really engaged. Normally half of the interns drop out over the course of the semester, and they're all still here. And it's like the weirdest semester ever. And so they've all kind of said, like, how do we do more calls? We've really enjoyed doing this. And so if anybody's interested in it, I've told them I'll keep them engaged. I mean, now they're not going to go into a real summer job or I don't know. Like, I feel like I can do some more training stuff with them over the summer that I wouldn't normally have been doing. I don't know what my staff looks like for the summer. I normally only have 1 or 2, and I really haven't discussed with Tracy what that's going to look like yet, but I'm happy to set up some stuff if people want to do that.
That's a great idea.
So there's a little chatter on the chat about sharing some slide decks and stuff. And so I'm just going to throw out the suggestion that if any of us have that, slide decks or things that programs we want to share, let's just send it to Leslie's email, the programming@cmbam.org. and then we'll just kind of put it on the website, disperse it to membership. Sound good? So anything you're willing to share with the whole group, let's just send it there. Any other thoughts on online training and getting people ready? I think that we've got some really good ideas, and I think if you have suggestions on how CMBAM can help, we've got ideas, but I've kind of written down a few more that I think would be really fun. So I think we've had a few more people join us here. Kim got back, and is that Mickey that will be slipping in here? Look at that. So try not to log out this time, Kim. And
Yes.
they all blame me for scaring you away. So Kim from Colorado State. Just so you know, the drinking game of word of the day today is fall and fopdoodle.
Okay.
Anytime those are mentioned, you've got to drink.
Thank you.
And I think Mickey's muted, so I'll unmute her. Mickey, you want to say hi?
Hi. Hi. Sorry. Have might have some background noise here, so I had that like that, but
that's okay. We just wanted to hear your voice.
Yeah. Oh, hi everybody.
All right. Did anyone else join? Okay, my squares look good now. So the next thing that was on the topic list was just kind of along the line of expectations. So what are your online content expectations right now? How often are you posting? How has content changed for you guys? I think I talked a lot about what we're doing in my last one, but we've shifted a lot to, instead of printing, we're now doing an issue PDF. We paid for the features that are now more interactive and can link on it, and now we're emailing that. So essentially our weekly newsletters become a PDF on Tuesday and a normal weekly newsletter on Friday. So our expectations have remained the same as far as the amount of stuff we're doing. It's just harder to sell right now for us. Anybody else?
Yeah, our expectations are pretty much continue to put out an e-newsletter edition daily, just like with the same amount of content that our print edition had and our online edition did. In addition to that, we started doing, it's part of this time of year and how we do, it's called Silhouettes. It's, we take about 20 to 25 people at Pitt, whether they be students, administrators, or people within the university community, and we do profiles on them. And they're done really, really well, gives our students a chance to write profile features. And they're pretty widely accepted by our readers. They get a lot of readership itself. So they've added that to the mix. Finals week is next week. So we'll publish our last daily e-newsletter on Monday. And then we take a brief little bit of a hiatus. We'll still break stories using the e-newsletter and online as need be until we start back up again on May 13th, which is the first week of summer term weekly classes. And then the goal is just to produce a weekly e-newsletter, but continue to break news in between that weekly e-newsletter will come out every Wednesday.
Yeah, at the daily, we're continuing as is. And honestly, we've, I think, increased our content production because they're not focusing on, oh, we only have an 8-page paper, so this is the amount of content that we need to create this week. I'm really proud of my students. Like, granted, it took a pandemic, but like they really are kind of shifting now into that digital first. And I'm hoping that's the silver lining when we come out of this, is that they are going to finally start listening to some of the strategies that we've been talking about for, quite honestly, the last decade about, let the content drive your actions. Don't let the number of pages in a print edition dictate your workflows.
We have been so, in the past, connected with our print edition, and it's kind of thrown our students just off kilter. And they are digital only, And right now, we don't have a whole lot of content. Most of, campus is closed, but a lot of the upperclassmen, because they've rented in Spokane, they've come back. And so they're out in the community, but know that they're transitioning into just doing online first, because I tell you, on March 19th, we still had to design pages, even though we weren't printing. And I think it's good for them, because that's the way of the future. But yeah, and we've refunded all of our advertisers. We were able to move some of them into social media, but of course, there's no students here. So it kind of depends on the advertiser. And some of them, we have a few that went to online ads, but it's the reason I'm in the office today is because I'm doing refunds and sending money back to people, or trying to keep credits. But yeah, it's been a hard transition, but probably in the future for the Gonzaga Bulletin, it's a good learning experience for editorial.
At CMU, we are publishing to our website and all of our social media about 3 times a day, working on various stories. Our photo editor is masked up and out in the community every day looking for essential workers and doing a daily profile on essential workers. As far as our advertisers go, our ad staff is still here. We're meeting once a week with our ad staff and then once a week with all staffs. And just our Friday meetings are pretty light, just kind of keep everybody's spirits up. We do a weekly bingo card for fun. And as far as advertising goes, we're running probably about 25% of our ad revenue right now that we normally run. So last month we billed out about $17,000 when we normally bill out 35. This month we'll bill out about 10,000 to 12,000 when we normally bill out about 40. So that's pretty significant loss, but we are able to shift a lot of our bundle advertisers into digital. Most of our clients are apartment complexes, so they've cut their budgets in half as they're dealing with refunds and contract breaks and things like that.
Yeah, we're projecting about 120K loss for the year. That's going to be unrecoverable. And a lot of our businesses, unfortunately, are tied to the shelter-in-place order. So none of those businesses even are considering shifting to digital because they're literally not open right now. So what we've decided to try and do is offer some bridge marketing for them. We'll give them free ad space in our e-newsletter if they're offering like curbside dining and different things like that, so that we're hopefully becoming a strategic partner with them, and they understand that we were trying to help them out during a hard time, so that hopefully we can rebuild the relationship once this is all over and they reopen.
Yeah, so that's perfect time to kind of transition into what are we doing, right? I know some are doing this kind of like what Charlie just called was bridge advertising, or giving huge discounts or offering fees. Kathy, you asked about how we're making money off of issue. And quite frankly, what we did is we just took the advertisers that were running and gave them all the premium stuff because we didn't print, but we're still sending that paper out to an email list of 6,000 plus, right? So we feel like we're still providing the service. But what are you guys doing as far as creating premium content or other kind of fundraising you're trying to do to make revenue? Are you doing discounts or offering free ads at all?
We're doing a fundraising with one of our magazines. We typically print about 25 to 30,000 magazines in the spring that always come out on May 1st. And one of our magazines was for our May 4th 50th commemoration. So we usually print 5,000 to 6,000 per magazine that we publish. So instead, we're only printing about 500 of them, and they're shipping them to my house. And then we're going to sell them online and consider it like a donation to student media. And then we send them the 50th commemoration magazine.
Andrea, she's still here? Andrea, was it you guys that were doing the free kind of business directory listing, or was that someone else on the call last year? Anyway, someone's doing.
Oh, we're doing it. We have that.
We're doing that as well. We're doing a Takeout Tuesday special on Instagram. So basically, we're just featuring all of our partners and who's offering free takeout along the same lines as Charlie. We're building some relationships with them, understanding they're in difficult times. I mean, we're struggling, but my gosh, they lost 80% of their revenue. So we're just giving that to them. We do a takeout special of $25 that like Little Caesars and a couple of our other pizza places are taking advantage of on social media. But basically, right now, we're just being good partners in the community.
And we've also kind of identified businesses that are still financially doing quite well. We're going after that sweet toilet paper money that the grocery stores are collecting. And there are other businesses in the area now too, like that are actually hiring people temporarily. So we're trying to find out who are the help wanted customers so that they can kind of offset some of our losses as well. As far as our conversion rate with that, it's been a little slow to start because our students just are not used to kind of remote selling at this point, but we've converted a couple clients in the last week, so better than nothing.
I've done one or two deals with people who had something. I'm not running a discount or a special necessarily, but if they had a print ad and there's not something that equals that exactly in our newsletter, then give them a discount to hit the right amount and get them what they need. But I told the students not to just like send out an email that's like everything's half off. That's not the situation. It's just trying to make things work. We partner with the transit and sell the bus signs. And so we billed for March, which was really half of March and half of April. Like we kind of billed the month ahead. So we knew that it was not, they weren't running, but I wanted to keep that billing, one, and I wanted to keep the commission for my students because it's a big chunk of our billing. And I was like, we'll just give them summer. Most of them stay up in the summer and I charge a discounted rate. Well, they're shutting down summer. And so we might imagine that's now a situation. So what I did this week was email, and I offered all of those businesses who were charged for March, they have options. They can use that as a credit for fall, or they can use it and I'll give them digital ads, newsletter ads, something between now and September, basically to stay within our fiscal year, to try to solve that problem of me saying, let's go ahead and bill it and we'll give them something later. So I don't know that that's the exact answer to that question, just another example of something kind of going on.
I think I would also recommend, as far as fundraising goes, what I would do is make sure that you have like a support the Minnesota Daily link on your website that takes you to, a donation page. But what we've been also doing at the Pitt News is with every news article, there's a 2 little sentence blurb saying support student journalism at this time. And with a link to our donation site as well. You might find that a lot of readers that you have online are alumni who probably read your newspaper throughout their entire 4 or 5 years at their school. So they might be more inclined to give. So I would definitely recommend adding that as well. I'm kind of wary about discounting advertising, considering how cheap online advertising is and priced. I mean, let's face it, we're taking print dollars and converting it into digital dimes. So if anything, I think once your print advertisers see the price and what they get for online, that they see that it is a big discount to them in some way or another.
We've to kind of counteract that, when we're offering these kind of bridge marketing opportunities, we put the dollar amounts that we would regularly charge with the package to show them right up front, this is the value that you're getting. And for our email edition, because it's almost to the same circulation as our newspaper, like those ads are priced pretty aggressively. They're not like our website ads or our social media ads or different things like that. We have the potential, if we sell all of the spots on our email newsletter, it would generate about $2,400 an edition. And if we sold 5 of those completely a week, like we're looking to position that. And we're taking that page from a lot of business journals that have those really extensive and expansive email lists. Like that's their strategy, is they don't discount the email edition. That pricing follows more of a print model pricing, because you are literally getting it out to the same number, if not more. Like we're getting very close to exceeding our physical print circulation with our email edition. And the open rate right now has gone up quite considerably because people are just paying attention to their email and their social media a little bit more during all of this. And we're hoping that we can kind of convert people into new habits in that regard. But yeah, I agree with you, Terry. Like you can't just give them something and tell them we're giving it to you. You have to show the value, so that there is no sticker shock when everything goes back to normal and we come back to them and say, okay, now here's the package that we pulled together for you and it costs this much. I think that's just a psychological thing, that working with some of these businesses that are experiencing a lot of stress and anxiety, it's still important to get that out front.
Yeah, I agree what you're saying. I would also just say, I think it's better to add value to their advertising purchase than to discount an ad.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's, adding a couple more tweets to your social, out there, or putting some free color in their ad, or another week of their online button, whatever it might be. But just, I think added value goes a long way, and it avoids the whole idea of devaluing your product.
Yeah, and we had that conversation pretty extensively. And so like a lot of these bridge marketing things that we're doing, we're actually going after our C-list clients that haven't advertised with us in years. And we're still trying to maintain monetary relationships with everybody that's been currently paying. Those are the people that we're trying to pivot into different products, offer transitional or upsells in that regard. And that's why the conversions on the free stuff have been kind of difficult, because there are a lot of people that haven't done business with us, and are wondering why we're reaching out and offering a free opportunity for them. So
Charlie,
go ahead.
Charlie, could I ask how many subscribers you have on your email list?
We're right at about 7,500, which is our print subscription. That's the other thing too. If any of you have the opportunity to do a pop-up or interstitial on your websites right now for email subscriptions, do it. People are signing up gangbusters on something that's usually annoying right now.
Yeah, I think we've been undercutting ourselves, because you said you can make about 2,400 if it's sold out for 7,500 emails.
Yep.
We send an emailer out to 54,000. 54,000 that are either students or ASU community that have signed up, and we are not charging that much, and I think that's about to change.
So our block pricing, so like our main ad component in that is medium rectangles, and we offer 8 spots on each template, and I think we're charging 200. Let me quick do the math. $200 a spot. It's been a while since I've crunched these numbers, so.
Yeah, I know we've probably downplayed the large list that we have, being we're so many campuses, and haven't been charging the amount we should be. And with this year, we haven't been hit hard by print like most of you, but our news racks obviously are a big chunk for us, and all of those got canceled because nobody's there. So this is a big one for us as well.
Yeah, our medium rectangles are $200, and then we also have a leaderboard spot at the top and a leaderboard spot like halfway down that are available. And combination of all the spots, if we sold them at just rate card value, would be about $2,400 an issue. We've never come close to selling it out, but I really do think that this is an opportunity for student media to offer that type of pricing with their newsletter editions, because
yes,
people are subscribing. It is the print edition equivalent of our digital products.
Another thing I was going to ask that you and Terry were talking about is doing a lot of this added value or discounts with the time right now. Have any of your departments ever had to deal with being audited and offering special discounts to some clients and not others, even though it's during a time like this? Like, have you ever had to go through something like that?
We've only been audited
We,
twice, I think,
Okay.
from our internal audit office here at Pitt. And during those audits, I think during those times, we really weren't doing a lot of added value. I guess the whole thing is that you just have to make sure that if you're doing added value, that you make sure that when you're billing, that you include that product that you gave away for free or whatever is added value, and you label it as such. You know what I mean? Just so they just don't think that you're giving away something for nothing.
Yeah, we were told that any discounts we would be willing to offer any and all clients for our, like, this is our how we were reprimanded, I guess, years ago. Any and all discounts we were going to be willing to offer a client due to either a certain amount of runs or like when you add color because they do a contract or something like that, has to be set at the beginning of the school year. Now, obviously, we didn't know this is all going to happen, so we didn't set any kind of deep discounts or added value items at the beginning of this school year. We're still, we're a very small department, and I've been out for most of the year. So we've been mostly just trying to stay, keep our heads above water. And now with all of this going on, it's been more of a just try to maintain what we have so far. So it's kind of hard. Other than like the emailer and really pushing that more, it's been kind of hard to try and do, new things or push new things, or because we've already been told we can't do discounts or added value, it's been hard to really just try to help out community businesses that work with us.
Kim, I think you wanted to say something a while ago. I want to make sure you got a chance to throw in what you guys were doing.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that we have decided to move forward on a mail home graduation edition. I know that some people had talked about this the last time that we met. And so I finally got somebody at CSU to agree to give us the mailing addresses to move forward with this. And we're reaching out to our student government with the hopes that they might partner with us on this and share the mailing costs. So I'm not expecting to make a whole lot of money off of it, but it will be some income.
I think that's a great idea, and we started to kind of broach that subject last week, but I do think a lot of the conversations that we've had with our administrators in the past where we've gotten hard no's, you need to really think about prioritizing and readdressing some of those conversations right now, because, and I don't want to sound like Mr. Smithers opportunistic, but a lot of ideologies have changed with this whole remote learning and different things like that. So the ability, like, especially since all of our organizations are students trying to create content and do something for other students, is taking on a whole different kind of aspect with our administrators. So like, I have a meeting set up next week for the email list that we've been unsuccessful in getting for the last decade. And I think they're open to it at this point, as well as the addresses for all of our incoming freshmen, you know. And the idea there is we're offering free advertising for the administration in that publication, and student government, like you're talking about. Like, I'm willing to give them free ads if it gets them on board, because we can sell the shit out of that. Whoops, sorry, we're recording that. We can sell the crap out of that to our local businesses, because we can tout a 100% pickup rate then. Like, there is no 50% recycle fee unless it literally goes to the home, and they'll recycle it if they want to, but I guarantee that the parents will be opening it up.
We've partnered with our first year experience office, and they actually request the mailing label request for us.
Yep.
To mail the new student guide to all the incoming freshmen and transfer students' homes. Because about 2 years ago, Pitt just did away with their, they were called Pitt Start programs, where all students had to come on campus during the summer to register for classes and get their ID, that sort of thing. So everything's done virtually. Last year was the first year it was done virtually, so we've already made that switch to having the new student guide mailed to all the freshmen and transfer students' homes. But to getting where Charlie was at too, it's time to revisit the whole idea of, for those schools, Pitt News included, we've had this conversation numerous times this past year, and we just got shut down again, which was the ability to provide the email list to the newspaper to send out the e-newsletter to all students. The thing now, you know, the excuse before was, well, they can pick up the print or they can opt in, all right? But now with you not having a print edition available on campus, and these students actually, particularly those who are paying for it, a student activity fee to get the newspaper, and it's not there for them in the platform that they need it in at this point, I think you have a lot of leverage at this time to go back and renegotiate and getting that e-newsletter. We've already had 3 attempts this past year. We've got shot down just this last time when Pitt closed all the physical classes to online classes. And that's when we went back and said, look, we need to really have this. They shut us down again, but we're chipping away. And they said that they'll continue talking with us for next year, actually making that available to us in the fall. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that we can keep applying pressure onto university administrators to get us that email distribution list for the e-newsletter. So this is your best, this is the silver lining that you keep looking for in certain situations. You know, we've talked about, you know, Charlie said it best, where students now are being driven to create content based on the need rather than the number of pages. This also has given us an opportunity to now say, all right, we really now need to give this email addresses to the student newspaper, because I think university administration's concerned at this point that students aren't engaged at the university, and what are they doing to keep them engaged? And this is one way of doing it.
Yeah, I'm going to speak to that just a little bit. So our radio station puts on a 3-day music, film, and art festival that should have started yesterday. Actually, should have started today. And I'm very close with our student events office, and we've been doing virtual events, and I'm now getting to the point where it's kind of offering the engagement, but this is something that someone can come in and sponsor and has potential revenue things. But right now, we're just trying to justify the student fee we get and the engagements that we get, and trying to give students that connected ability. So we're going to be live streaming a concert tomorrow, which is going to be kind of fun. And we've done some like trivia nights and slam poet nights via Instagram Live and some of that. So that's been kind of fun and exciting for us. I do want to take a second to just acknowledge Sarah. Sarah has joined us from North Carolina. What are you drinking today, Sarah?
I just got back from going to the grocery store and taking my son to the doctor, so nothing right now, but probably red wine in an hour. Ish. I did thank you for the introduction. I did want to mention and add to the conversation about the email addresses. We have been challenged and have had no luck getting access to our EDUs and have had to build our list organically. I had a meeting with my boss, who is the AVP, and she told me that now is the time to get that information, and she sees a potential window for us not only to get the EDUs but also to potentially get the 44,000 parent emails from parent and family services. So that could be huge. I mean, right now we're almost hitting 3,000 just from growing it organically. That would give us an incredible opportunity. If we could get a fraction of that would be wonderful. So I do agree. Now is the time to have those conversations if you can. And you know, I guess the argument, another argument is, you know, the paper in its physical form is available and accessible for anybody who chooses to pick it up. But if nobody is physically there, you know, and you're dealing with a virtual landscape that is so crowded and polluted, you know, this is a service that we provide our community. And so I think we can craft the argument and hopefully increase our MailChimp monthly bill.
Yeah.
But, you know, we can definitely monetize that for sure. We sell it out, you know, as it is. So I think.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. And kind of going back to the email editions, to answer a couple of questions that popped up in the chat. Minnesota Daily, we've increased our open rate by about 20%. We were at about 30%, and it's bumped up now during the pandemic to almost a steady or consistent 50%, which actually matches our return rate of the print editions. We were tracking about 50% recycled newspapers out of that 7,500 that we printed every single day. And if you actually take the fact that we're circulating our email, was I not? Oh, sorry. Let me go backward to address a few of the questions that were happening in the chat about the open rate on the email editions. Minnesota Daily has increased its open rate by about 20% since the pandemic has started. So we were at about 30% open consistently, and it is now right at about 50%, which actually matches our print circulation. We print about 7,500 newspapers, or before pre-pandemic, we were printing about 7,500 newspapers and recycling about 50% of those. And so like our digital engagement has matched our print engagement. But the thing is our digital engagement is actually a little bit better now because we distribute an email edition every day out of the week, and we're planning on continuing to do that moving forward. So we're actually getting a higher engagement through our digital products now than we are or were with our print products.
So a lot of great ideas, and I think going off of some of the stuff I heard last week, so just this yesterday, after a week of planning from meeting with you guys 2 weeks ago or whatever it was, we've kind of done a bridge thing. So our editorial decided, because graduation's not happening, there's no commencement going on until August, all that, they're going to put a list of every single one of the graduating people in the paper, just kind of make essentially what the university usually prints and wastes a ton of money on, and the pallet load. We're going to print those and try to mail them out. And then we coupled that with, we do a 50 most influential. So we have people nominate, like people that have impacted the university over the year. So we're putting all those kind of together. And then we got that with what Charlie called bridge advertising, where we essentially just send out a survey to everyone on our sales MailChimp list, so our clients, and ask them to fill out a quick survey of just, are they open? What services are they offering, et cetera, and then had them upload their logo. And we're just going to put a page or two of logos, essentially congratulating the graduates. So not necessarily a free service, because we're essentially going to get all their information updated like that. in one fell swoop. But that's kind of how we're trying to do the stuff that was talked about before, but also engage with registration and stuff like that. And we just barely got the 8,000 names for that, but we haven't figured out how to monetize it beyond the free logo kind of thing. We didn't really get much interest until we kind of said, well, we're just going to put your logo on there. And then we're going to create an online directory that shows what the businesses are doing and send that out to our email to the 6,000 people or whatever that are subscribed to ours. So I would love for the discussion of freshman orientation and kind of the summer plans to continue. I think that can kind of go along with graduation. Seems like that's something that, but if there's any other kind of things you guys are doing, orientation's a big one for us. We're just moving forward like we're going to print it because we mail that out to the incoming freshmen anyway. But I know that, summer visiting is not going to happen for at least the first few months, right? So the incoming freshmen or even the prospects won't be visiting our campus. And that was an opportunity where we usually had to recruit them and do some stuff like that. So any other discussions, orientation or graduation wise, and things you guys are doing to either make money or just provide service?
I'll go. The big concern I have is at this point, we have our new student guide deadline will be June 5th for advertising, and then get it was like an 84-page edition last year. So a matter of getting all that ready into the printer in time for it to be mailed out to the freshman class early July is June 5th, and then it gets printed on June 26th, I believe, and then it goes to the university mailroom to send out. But my main concern at this point is, will businesses be open and respond in time by that June 5th ad deadline? My feeling is to stick with the June 5th ad deadline, but keep pushing it back if we find that businesses continue to be closed and unresponsive. As long as we get it out before the freshmen come on campus, that's our goal. So are any of you who are also mailing it have that concern and have any way of dealing with it?
I don't think it's a huge concern for us. We're kind of hopeful that still mailing it out, where we mail it out, they don't get to come on campus immediately anyway, but eventually they will show up. So then I'm going to make sure, Andrea, when you wanted to talk, but anybody else concerned about timing of their orientation guide and whether or not businesses will even be open at that point?
Can I address real quick? We are actually meeting with our university leaders about that orientation issue because of the fact that we won't probably have any orientation sessions. And so we're modifying it to basically getting permission, which has never happened, but apparently everybody's open to new ideas right now. So we're going to talk with them about making sure they get in all student mailboxes, and in all, what we have is a Safari leadership program that runs a week before school starts, where they bring the 2,000 or 3,000 freshmen in, and they actually get these backpacks, and we will be able to put it into those backpacks. So that's what we're banking on, but we'll have that meeting next week to talk about.
So my question is just, how many of you are actually already mailing a new student guide? In the past, we've handed ours out at the physical orientation, or the orientation staff has done so. But my director and I have a meeting with transition and engagement next week. And I'm just trying to have a list in my pocket of other schools who somehow are working with some entity on their campus to get those mailed out to those students, since all of our orientations will be virtual this summer.
We don't call ours a new student orientation because it mails at the very end of summer. So for a lot of years. I don't know how long before I got there. We've done this mail out piece. It used to be more of a magazine type with a glossy outside and newspaper inside. And now it's just a straight newspaper that we print. Our deadline, so I'm not as worried about it at this exact moment, but our deadline, that's loud. Sorry, child with loud devices. Our deadline is normally mid-July. So we print it because it's just a newspaper print. We can get it turned around pretty quickly. I get the addresses. That's the word I was looking for there. Sorry. I get the addresses from the registrar. We do not partner with anybody on this. They actually give us all the mailing addresses. And so we have done that. We mail it late July to get there before they move in mid-August. So that's kind of how we do ours and have for a while. So it's not orientation. It was a new student.
We do something similar to what Julie does. Is we found out that advertisers wanted to have their message given to the students, freshman students, before they got to campus. And so we do a mail home edition. Ours goes out the first week in August, and it's a straight up newspaper. We're able to sell display spots to on-campus departments, and we get our mail list from our freshman orientation group. So we have, so we get the addresses from them, and the upside is that we sell to campus department as well as, local businesses.
So just real quick, by raise of hand or glass, how many of you mail out an orientation issue?
This year or traditionally?
Always, yeah, previously.
Oh, okay.
I'm helping Andrea out with a quick poll of CMBAM. And then those of you that just hand it out physically or do something else. Okay, there you go. There's your poll for you. All right, get your glasses full. I want to transition for our last few minutes here. I'd like to end us at 3:30 because we do want to keep doing these, and we can only sit in front of these calls so long. But get your glasses full because let's talk about fall. I think the scenario of what happens if nothing changes between now and August, right? What are the plans? Are you budgeting down to help the clients recover? What does budgeting look like? What does your staff look like? What if classes go online? Let's just kind of have that discussion and talk about any concerns you guys have or where you want to take that route.
Well, I'll start.
That's interesting.
Go ahead, Sarah.
No, go ahead, Sarah.
I was just going to say that I'm preparing to lose a lot of campus revenue, and I've had access to some budgets of my colleagues as we've been asked to go through some exercises of cuts and reductions, and I pretty much saw in everybody's budget, they're cutting our production services, they're cutting their advertising, and so it's going to be difficult for local businesses, but I think our colleagues and our partners within the university are not going to have the money to spend with us, and that's going to impact us in several different areas. So that's one thing that I think about, as well as the businesses that are impacted as well. And so I'm just trying to figure out how low do I shoot for our revenue goal for the year. I don't know what we're going to be able to do, and I don't know how to realistically plan for that, really. The email addresses can help, but yeah, it's going to be a challenging year for sure. So I just wanted to kind of throw out that to see if you guys are expecting the same from your campus departments, if that's a large source of revenue for you in the first place, or.
Yeah, we're looking at a 15% budget cut. So everybody has to cut 50% of their budgets, and they're going to cut expenses before they're going to cut personnel. So I would anticipate that that will be us.
Yeah, we sell to a lot of on-campus departments, and we're going to see a huge, whether it's online only, or they've talked about the scenario of maybe campus would open in October, but no matter what it is, we're going to see a huge hit. And we've already been asked to give back money. All the departments have, and you know, advertising, marketing money is one of those things that go. And travel.
That's all we've been told, or at least my colleagues have been told, is that there will not be any like conference travel for next year. But they're expected to budget the same amount as the previous year, but that could change. But I'm sure, like anything else, when you're expected to like do a 15% cut, it would be naive of us to think that university departments wouldn't be cutting their advertising. As probably, to me, it's probably one of their first items, unfortunately. So yeah, I mean, if anything, it's just looking at your expense budget and seeing where you can become leaner and meaner to kind of mitigate the losses that we'll be getting through the loss of advertising revenue.
So how many of us, there's a poll going on. We wanted to try out that feature. So I don't know how it works because I'm a host, so I don't get to see how to vote, but.
Yeah, I don't get to vote either. So
it's kind of sad.
We're at 92%. 13
we
out
tried.
of 14 have voted. So.
Nice.
I voted.
Nice. There you go. Even so, now it's official. We can send you a screenshot if you need it. So.
And share results.
So one question is, you know, how many of us lived through 2008, right? I was a student then, but we saw the changes in
2001. 2001 was the
also
worst
that.
year for 2008. Yeah.
I was in high school, so
yes, baby.
I was living my best life. You know, that had an impact on some of our professional staffs. It had an impact on how many students we employed, and definitely what's been talked about already, you know, university and what they spend. Are we feeling that? Are we preparing for that? Are we anxious about that? And what tips did we learn from 2001 or 2008 that we're trying to use now? I would love a conversation about that.
Well, from 2001, when we thought the world was coming to an end, I think what I learned is that you just have to take one day at a time and first, and then it causes you to, you know, I'm thinking differently than I was a month ago about things, and really researching a lot of digital stuff and how to bring in new revenue.
So I'm going to say the same thing. So in 2008, oddly enough, that was the year we made the most with our on-campus housing and off-campus housing special sections. And the reason was, and I guess that's where I got the idea for what we do with this graduation thing, is we sent out a poll essentially to everyone that we could find and said, give us your information, we'll print it for free, just kind of as a directory listing. But you can also buy these other features, or you can upscale essentially, and we included an online component. And you know, we made in that 1 year what we had made total every year previous. Mm-hmm. So we made 20,000 in 1 year because we tried something different, and we offered something kind of almost like the freemium scale of buying up. So I agree. I think we're already starting to do that. I think these conversations are leading to a lot of us thinking of ideas that others have tried or are trying. And I think that's one way to try to get through it, is offer something new and different, but understand that advertisers won't be doing what they've always done either. That we need to adapt to that too. Other thoughts?
Do you think that the advertisers will come back? I don't know the answer to this, so I'm asking. we're going to end up spending 3 or 4 months with advertisers learning how to work without us. How do you feel that's going to impact us?
I don't think that's going to be a problem because.
Maybe from the print standpoint is my question.
Oh, from a print standpoint?
Yeah. Do you feel like they'll come back to print after they realize they can function in a digital world?
I think it's very important to, like we were talking about earlier with the different digital products that we offer, not to undervalue them at this time, like Terry was talking about. So your email editions, you really need to be shoring up and getting ready for those rollouts. And a couple of you in the chat have talked about like your open rates aren't trending up right now. I think that there's a couple of factors that you need to kind of work with internally on that too. And that could quite honestly be the coverage that your newsrooms are prioritizing in this time. Everything COVID needs to be above the fold in the email edition. And you might want to even, I know some schools are experimenting with breakout email editions that are specifically dedicated to COVID. And if you can even capture your audience there, the idea or the ability to convert them later is much, much higher. But I think we need to get into the headspace now that print is going to become the add-on value at the end of all of this. Especially for the regular edition of the newspaper. I still think we have the ability to maintain the special section value of our print editions after all of this, like dining guides, orientation guides, mail home guides, different things like that. But the regular newspaper at this point in time, and feel free to argue with me and poke holes in my logic here, but I really do think that that's going to become kind of an added value, or we need to start planning it as a fixed expense. Where
I mean, Charlie, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I was done.
Okay. That's kind of where we were years ago when we first decided to go digital first and put print on the back burner for ourselves. It was a tough call to make, especially being one of the first ones to do that, but we've struggled to go back to doing any additional print other than a few issues of a magazine throughout the semester and an annual housing guide, which is a big money maker. So those special sections like that, I think are good, and they have a good niche for clients as well as audience. But that's kind of where we've been. That's what we've been doing now. Right now, that's why that hasn't been a huge issue for us, because print for us hasn't been a huge part of our revenue. And I don't know. I can't even remember now. It's been years.
And maybe, oh, go ahead, Joanne.
Well, I was just going to agree with you, Charlie, is that we really saw this year, we saw it the previous year, that if we didn't have something special going on in an issue with the print edition, nobody bought it. And 5-6 years ago, we would have annual contracts where we had local advertisers who would buy every issue or every other issue. And those have all dried up except for maybe like 2 local businesses. And so our staff said, we need to have something to sell, because just an issue of the bulletin isn't going to do it. So we came up with those special things, right? And we're successful with a coupon book, a basketball preview issue, or whatever you call it. And we started doing these social justice issues, because Gonzaga's campus is really big on that. And geez, we got a lot of advertisers for a diversity poster, LGBTQ pride poster, and even Earth Day poster that we couldn't run. But when we had something special we had a special edition, something special, advertisers would buy print. So I agree with you that print's going to be the add-on. It's going to be like, we'll throw it in for you, or something, but it's changed. risk.
Well, and I do think, like, talking more again about silver linings, is there are a lot of students in our newsrooms right now that they've never experienced a 2001 or a 2008. And throwing them into the deep end of the pool and really being transparent and honest about your finances moving forward is going to change some of the philosophies. Like, our incoming EIC is completely open to any sort of new special section, as long as it helps ensure that they're going to maintain payroll and staffing positions within their department. And that's not extortion by any sense of the word, but like, it's really bringing them. And they're also, like, one of the biggest arguments we've been having over the last 2 years is, like, can we please go down to a weekly print edition? And our newsroom has been pushing back against that. Well, that was an idea that they floated now, you know, because of all of the stuff that's happening. Like, when we come back to print, why don't we just do it weekly and then continue with the digital first? So, like, I think a lot of these, just like some of the conversations that we've been having with administration that have been seeming like we've been hitting a wall, I think you can go back from a business perspective to internally to your own organization and readdress some of those strategic, you know, financial type endeavors that you want to do. Like, special sections is where we make our money, folks. And that's not saying we're telling you what to write or how to write it, but, like, let's collaborate on the types of special sections that we want to do. Like Joanne was talking about, social justice issues are big on our campus as well, but we don't have any special sections that specifically feed into that. And dining guides, yeah, the newsroom doesn't want to really participate in, but we have business writers, so, like, we publish those from the business side. And if you're not into that model not quite yet, I suggest that you start exploring those options and bringing some different types of positions into your organization as well, to help facilitate the publishing of some of these special sections, especially the niche ones.
I want to kind of go back to Kathy's question in our last few minutes here of, are they going to be there in the fall?
Oh, yeah.
And maybe some of you that haven't spoken up as much can maybe weigh your opinion in on this, but just in the last few minutes, I kind of taken the whole conversation we've had today. I think in summary, I guess what I'd say is, we are trying to view this as an opportunity to not only train our staff what to sell and how to sell different than what we've done historically for 120 years, but to re-educate and inform our clients about all these other things that we've been doing that we haven't been good at marketing or letting them know, because we default to a paper or they associate with us a paper. And I think we're taking this opportunity, as we don't have a printed issue right now. So we're going to train our students first on how to sell newsletters. We're going to train them how to sell video production. We're going to train them how to sell online ads. We're going to train them how to do social media posts. All these things that we know we should have been doing, we're training on that first now. So even in our training, we're going digital first. And I think that that's going to move over into our clients who, you know, I have a jeweler who, he won't run anything but print ads, but now his son is going to be the one that does the marketing because he understands it, right? So I'm going to be able to now maybe move them into the model that we know they should have been doing for years. And so I think that that's the kind of concept that we're trying to do. Is I think it hit at a good point in the year where it's going to be summer where some of our clients just kind of think that we disappear anyway, as far as at Utah State. And so hopefully it won't impact as much as they can live without us. But instead, we're now going to go educate them and teach them all these other things that we can do for them that they just didn't pay attention to in the past. So that's my thoughts.
No, I agree with everything you have to say, Nathan. And I guess my advice to all advisors out there at this point, if there's ever a time for you to do a SWOT analysis, it's now. And do it with your key student leaders, do it with your editor-in-chief, do it with your business manager. And I think what you'll do is you'll see that former mindset changed now that they've been forced to do digital first. I hope I do a SWOT analysis with my advisory board, which acts as a publisher of Pitt News, because they have a lot of old-time, die-hard print people on that board who, as much as I've been pushing to maybe cut an edition or two, they fought me on it. But I think now, because they are feeling it at the newspapers that they're at here in Pittsburgh, that they'll be more inclined to say, all right, it's probably not a bad idea to move forward with digital first and print second.
All right, words of wisdom. If there's nothing else or any last comments, I think we can wrap it up. I'll just give a shout out to some training, some online training. So Leslie and her programming board, do you want to announce this or you want me to?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, well, April 16th. April 16th.
April 23rd.
April 23rd.
Sorry.
Because today is,
I'm with you.
Yeah, today is that day.
Yeah.
Woo! James Wilson at the University of Michigan was asked during our happy hour last time a lot about the session he gave at convention about Facebook technologies and Facebook publishers, both business and kind of the editorial side. And so we've got a webinar planned, online session for that can include you guys as well as your students. So that'll be the 23rd at 3 p.m. Central. So essentially the same time, just next week. The same link, I would assume, as well. So
yeah, and hopefully we'll be able to do. Am I muted? Hopefully we'll be able to do an off. Like we'll continue to do this every other week, and that off week we'll try to do a session on something in particular, led by a member or somebody, so that we can and just kind of keep this time slot, but keep it going.
And we will record all episodes, and in the next week or two, I'm working on getting them all uploaded to our YouTube channel. So that way you will have the ability to go back to this. If you thought of something that we discussed and want to hear it again, it'll be available. We also record or take the transcriptions of the chats, and I don't know where those will land, but those will also be available. So if there's any links that we've shared that everybody is interested in, you'll still have access to those as well. So
yeah, so one final pitch that I'm going to give is the programming committee was referenced. We would love for you guys to sign up for committees, and you can do that by going to the CMBAM website and going under this little about here. Actually members. And then there's a join a committee form for you guys to fill out. Some of you did that at convention. We've got your name, but feel free to fill it out again if you want. But encourage your students as well to get involved, give them something to do. So they can join any of the committees that are standing committees as well as ones in the future. So again, just cmbam.org, go to the members and then join a committee and just fill out this beautiful form here. And we'll be in touch with you as a board on how you can help with programming, awards, auditing, marketing, etc. So with that, I'll stop sharing and thank you all for coming. Some of you didn't speak, so I expect to see you in 2 weeks and have lots of things to share with us next time. Looking at you, Fevia, you know who I'm talking about. So let's have one final drink and toast to our future, to all FOP doodles that are in charge of everything, and to the fall.
To the fall.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.